I'll now start with my own statement, and then we'll go to Mr. Webster, the ranking member, for his. Welcome today, our witnesses. This is a very important hearing because we're going to be discussing what should be the priorities of FEMA moving into 2022. When we think about FEMA, we typically think about floods or hurricanes or wildfires or those kinds of immediate disasters that are usually limited to a specific area. But what we have learned with the National Disaster Declaration during COVID-19 is that unexpected events of all kinds can impact any community at any time. Now, during this declaration, which is ongoing, people in Nevada, and I'm sure in all of your states, have really relied on FEMA to provide certain services that perhaps they haven't in the past, like setting up community vaccination centers. In addition to the pandemic, we know that the climate change and severe weather events, which have combined with high-risk areas having more intense development, to really make emergencies more serious. They have changed the emergency management landscape as a result, and government and insurance data show that these disasters are more expensive and have a greater impact than ever before. And that's what we need to talk about as we look at FEMA's plans for the next year. We need to see how FEMA can adapt to this new reality in dealing with certain kinds of disasters and with those that are unexpected, and how they can keep our communities and the survivors as a priority as they move forward. The demand for public assistance has never been greater. We see it, they want to help repair public infrastructure after a disaster. That has just increased at rocket speed as the intensity of natural disasters have also increased. And presently, FEMA has the longest queue for public assistance to date as a result of these disasters. You only have to look at Puerto Rico if you don't believe me, because they are still trying to get public assistance for the people who were affected by the weather conditions in those areas, as well as in the Virgin Islands. Reimbursements are critical from FEMA to these communities to get back on their feet. But one of the things that we have heard over the years and the time I've chaired this committee is there's just too much red tape, too many burdensome requirements. People don't know where to apply. It's contradictory information. So that's got to be a priority, that we clean up that red tape and simplify the public assistance program to better assist our communities. The second thing that I know we want to talk about that should be a priority is the workforce. Two things are happening at the same time. It's difficult to find people to work, and yet the disasters are increasing. So how do we find additional team members to work with the men and women who have done such a good job and worked so hard in these kind of trying times in order to expand the workforce there? We need more diversity. We need more longevity of the members. We need to be able to attract well-qualified workforce to FEMA. And so that's got to be a priority. I've got legislation that's bipartisan, which will be introduced, designed to help FEMA meet these needs to retain and to recruit and retain qualified reservists. We need to provide protection for these folks. We need to provide training, and we need to provide benefits if we want to have a team who can meet the new demands. A third issue that seems to run throughout the priorities that FEMA should be looking at for the new year is the notion of building resilience. When you build back, you need to build back better. And so I'm proud to have championed some efforts along with the chairman of this committee, Mr. DeFazio, and the resilience package so that we could provide some of this assistance. We also sent a letter to FEMA talking about the inequitable distribution of benefits that need to be considered. So I look forward to working with FEMA on these efforts during 2022. This committee stands ready to do what Congress can to assist FEMA's efforts. We want to hear how the FEMA is trying to meet the 50 open recommendations that have come from the GAO that address some of these shortcomings all across the program. And I'm anxious to hear from Mr. Curry how GAO believes that FEMA can prioritize these 50 open issues. And I also want to hear from the emergency management folks at the National Emergency Management Association and the International Association of Emergency Management. They are on the front lines and they can tell us from their standpoint how they think things can be improved, how they're working well, and how we need to make some adjustments. So we'll look forward to the hearing. We thank the witnesses for being here. And I would now turn to Mr. Webster, the ranking member, for his opening statement.